Alrighty guys, so this is going to be part 2 for solving rational functions. We're going to be doing a little bit more involved problems, so make sure you give yourself a decent amount of space when taking these notes. Okay, we're going to be writing a little bit more. So kind of starting things off, let's continue looking at these problems. We have 6 over x minus 3 equals 8x squared over x squared minus 9 minus 4x over x plus 3. Now, the difference from what part 1 was all about is in those denominators, they were really simple. They were just like a 5 or a simple x. But now we've got legitimate factors in these denominators, and we got to then make sure that they all have that same denominator and have that same factor, okay? Now, what we're going to need to do initially to kind of make our life easier is we need to go ahead and we need to factor this guy right here. Believe it or not, we can factor that using the difference of squares. And what that's going to look like is 8 over 8x cubed over x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, and you got to make sure you use your difference of squares rules. Now let's go ahead and see what everyone else needs. So this first fraction over here for the 6 over x minus 3, he's missing the x plus 3. So let's go ahead and give him that. So he has x plus 3. And then we have our x minus 3, x plus 3. And then for this guy over here, he's missing his x minus 3. So we've got x plus 3, and then he needed the x minus 3. Alrighty, now what we're going to do is we're going to distribute, okay? And so I've got myself a 6x plus 18 all over my x minus 3, x plus 3. And then my 8x squared over x plus 3, x minus 3. And then I have my 4x squared minus my 12x. And that's going to be x plus 3, x minus 3. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and combine my numerators, okay? And I'll move everything up. There we go. So looking at this right here, I've got my 6x plus 18 all over x minus 3, x plus 3 is equal to 8x squared. Now you have to understand that we need to go ahead and distribute this negative to each one of those terms, okay? So just be aware of that. So when you see the symbol change, okay, that's what's happening. So we have a minus 4x squared plus a 12x, and that gives us our x plus 3, x minus 3. Now, let's go ahead and simplify the terms because we can combine these x squareds. That's going to give me my 4x squared plus 12x all over x plus 3, x minus 3. And then 6x plus 18 all over x minus 3, x plus 3. Now, looking at this officially gets into the category of cross multiplying because now we have the ability to do this one and do this one, right? So we have the ability to do that. So let's go ahead and do it. I've got myself a 4x squared plus 12 times x minus 3, x plus 3 is equal to 6x plus 18 times x plus 3, x minus 3. Now, looking at this, you're probably thinking to yourself, this is a lot of multiplying, Mr. Farmer. What in the world are we going to do? Well, the truth is, we can actually utilize that trick I talked about at the very end of part 1. We're actually going to go ahead and make our lives easier. We're going to divide by x minus 3, x plus 3 on either side because that's what they have in common. And what that ends up doing is these simplify, leaving us with a lot more manageable question. It leaves us with, sorry, I had to move some stuff, 4x squared plus 12 is equal to, oh, I forgot my x here. My apologies, I needed my x. My 4x squared plus 12x is equal to 6x plus my 18. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to combine like terms, subtract the 6x. That's going to give me 4x squared plus 6x, and then is equal to 18. Subtract the 18, and you got 4x squared plus 6x, and then minus 18. That equals 0. So now what we're going to do is take a look at this. We have the ability to go ahead and do some factoring here because these have 3 terms, and we can do the AC method. Now, before I do the AC method, I could divide everything by a 2 to make my life a little bit easier. And that's going to give me a 2x squared plus 3x. And then, of course, a minus 9 is equal to 0. Now, in the AC method, we have to figure out, what exactly is going to give us an 18. Because, remember, 2 times negative 19, that's negative 18. What's going to give me a 3? And I believe that's going to be a 6 and a negative 3. And so this breaks off into 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. And then we split it down the middle. And then I have what in common on the left side. That is a 2x. And that's going to be an x plus 3. Now, if you get x plus 3 on the left side, you're going to get x plus 3 on the right side. And then what goes in the front? Well, a negative 3. Now, remember, these factors come out as x plus 3, and then the outside terms come together, and you have 2x minus 3, okay? That's all equal to 0. Now, once again, we split it down the middle. You have x plus 3 is equal to 0, and then 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, okay? You go ahead and you subtract, and you get that. And then you subtract, and you got 2x is equal to 3. And then x is equal to 3 over 2. Now, looking at this right here, there is an extraneous solution here. This one is extraneous, and we cannot use it because if you were to plug in the minus 3 into the original equation at the very, very beginning, it would actually come out to 0 in one of the denominators. So this is the only one that's going to work. Okay? It's the only one that's going to work. Alrighty, now let's do one more example. And then I think that should be good. So here, let me erase some stuff, clean some stuff up here. Alrighty, there we go. So much better. Okay. So now we have our 9 over x minus 2. And then I've got my plus 6x over x plus 2 is equal to 9x squared over x squared minus 4. Now, once again, we're going to go ahead and do the difference of squares. We have 9x squared over x plus 2, x minus 2. Now, the first fraction, what is it missing? It's missing the x plus 2, so I have x plus 2. I've got my, oh, hold on, x, oh, changed colors on me. X plus 2, x minus 2. And then now over here for the 6x, he's missing the x minus 2. And then I've got my x plus 2, x minus 2. Alrighty, so now everything's good to go. I just need to distribute. And so I have 9x plus 18. And then I've got 6x squared minus 12x. Now, I went ahead and put everything under the same numerator. That is because I don't have that subtraction symbol. I can go ahead and just put everything just like I see it. It's only when we have the subtraction symbol that we need to take that added step There we go. Now let's simplify like terms in here so that way we can go ahead and start doing cross multiply. So the 6x squared, we're going to leave him as is, but we are going to go ahead and do 9x minus 12x. 9x minus 12x, that's going to give us minus a 3x and then plus 18 all over the x plus 2, x minus 2, and then 9x squared over x plus 2, x minus 2. Now we're officially in a position where we can do all that cross multiplying, so let's go ahead and do that. So remember, when we cross multiply, we're doing this, and then we're doing this, okay? So I've got my 6x squared minus 3x plus 18 times my x plus 2, x minus 2 is equal to 9x squared, x plus 2, x minus 2. Now instead of multiplying all this out and driving us crazy, let's go ahead, let's divide out those denominators, those x plus 2 and x minus 2. And eventually, if you want, you don't actually have to do this step. If you see right away that, you know, what it's going to be, you can actually jump to that. I'm just showing all the added steps so that way you can see the exact mathematics that are happening. Alrighty, now we're left with this, and we just need to combine like terms. Let's go ahead and I'm going to bring everything to one side, and that's going to give me and then I'll add 3x, and then I'll subtract 18, so I'll add, subtract. So that gives me 0, because these all go to 0, and I've got 3x squared plus 3x minus 18. There we go. Now, before I go ahead and maybe do the AC method, because I'm pretty sure that that's where all this is heading to, let me go ahead and divide by 3 on everything, because that'll simplify all these numbers very nicely. That'll give me x squared plus x minus 6. Now, the idea behind the AC method, I do a times c. So for -6, the multiples I'm looking for are 3 and -2. So this breaks off into x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6. You then got x plus 3. So I should get x plus 3 over here, and then a -2 in the front. So I end up with, and I guess, let me move this all up. I got x plus 3, x minus 2, and equals 0. So looking at this right here, I'm going to end up with x is equal to -3, and then x is equal to 2. Now I just got to verify and make sure none of these are extraneous, and I believe this one is extraneous, because if I plug in that 2 into the original equation, it's going to make one of the denominators go to 0, so the only one is this guy right here. I just need this x minus 3. And that is it. Okay, so the idea is that go ahead, take these notes, take these ideas and concepts, apply them to your handout or to your Big Math Ideas assignment. Let me know if you have any issues, guys. Alrighty, y'all have a good one.